Hey, I'm Jamie Lewis, and welcome to Deadbeat Studios. Today, we're going to be pitting these two rigs against each other. Let me go to this screen. This is the Aguilar Tonehammer 500 and the AG500. Both of these just came out today. Let me get my coffee cup out of the way. So let me say two things right off the bat. I'm sure you can tell. Number one, this is going to be a real casual, laid back, unscripted, unedited, uncensored kind of video. In fact, let me turn both of these on so we can get them booting up. I'm just going to basically play 6 different songs through both of these rigs. I'll dial in a tone on one, and then we'll switch to the other and basically play the same thing through it and see if, I can match it somehow, or maybe the other one does something different. Because, these heads do look and even sound pretty similar. I mean, they're about the same weight. If you look at them on the back, they both look identical. This one's got an overdrive circuit and a 3-band EQ, while this one's got 4-band and, 2 dip switches on it. So, I guess the purpose of this is to see, is there a winner? Like, we're going to play 6 songs, 6 different styles, active basses, passive, 5 strings, 4 strings, slapping, pick, fingers, all of it. So is there a winner where like, oh, this one does better in scenario A, whereas this one B? Or is it like, you can kind of get similar sounds with both other than, the feature set that I just mentioned. So all I'm saying, this is a live, uncut video, so please give me some grace. If I say something wrong or do something, we're rolling off the cuff here. And also, if you want to skip around, just look at the timeline. You can see chapters and everything, so you can jump around if you'd like to. Other than that, let's just go ahead and dive in. The first thing I'm going to play, whoops, I hit the wrong button. See, we're screwing up already. The first thing I'm going to do is play something that I call this Weezer meets Green Day. So I'm going for driving eighths, playing with a pick. The instrument that we chose is this Ibanez. Gosh, don't ask me what the model number is. I'll do it later with maybe something's popping up right now. But this is an Ibanez 5-string that I had here not too long ago. Yeah, great sounding instrument for this task. Oh, let me say one other thing about the experiment is I'm going to be reamping, like you just saw. I'm going to reamp a performance into both of these rigs. So you won't be able to be like, oh, maybe this one sounded like it had more top end than this one because, you played it differently. No, identical performances into both. And so we'll really be able to A/B them. Is there anything else I need to say about the setup? Oh, we're going to go out of the front DI. If I were to flip this around, in fact, hold on, let me just do that to start with. If I turn this one off, unplug these, I'm going to put these right back in. But both of these look the same from the rear side. Okay, so they've both got speak on output, effects sends and returns, auxiliary input, which we're not going to use because I'm not going to run backing tracks here. I'll do it through the computer, but we can run headphones. They all look the same. This is the biggest addition to both of these. Since Aguilar got purchased by Korg, who also owns Dark Glass, I'm pretty sure this is just an integrated technology of theirs. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. But essentially, you've got 3 different cabinets that you can use, and then a USB cable that you can connect to, I guess, load more. There's some software, which unfortunately we're not going to get into with this video, because like I said, these amps came out today. I filmed this 3 days ago from whatever now is. I don't know what day it is. But so the software wasn't ready. I didn't have it when I was doing these, but it does exist, and maybe we'll come back and do something else with it. But that's what they both look like on the back, and you'll notice there's a second DI. So that second DI is going to send out not the dry signal. Hold on, let me go back to this one. Sorry. This is sending out the dry signal post EQ and gain. This one is sending out post EQ and gain with the cabinet engaged. So I guess the idea is, maybe this one goes to your ears and this one goes to front of house, or vice versa, whatever the thing is. Or again, for recording, you can take a DI from the pedal, you can take a DI from the head, and then you can take a DI post amp sim and all that kind of stuff and blend them however you feel like it. Okay, let me go ahead and flip this back around, plug all this stuff in. Hold on, give me just a moment. Where are these? Input and then the XLR. So We'll start by just comparing DIs. I do have a cabinet here as well, as you just saw. Aguilar sent over this SL112. So we'll be able to mic it up at the end and, you know, also hear how it handles with cabinets and stuff. But let's go ahead and play this very first song. Let me get some audio going. And also, for confusion's sake, because I'm not going to call it the AG500 and the Tonehammer, because trust me, I'm going to screw it up so bad. So we'll call this amp 1 and 2. We'll start from the bottom and work our way up. So I'll say, like, we'll solo up amp 1, now we'll move on to amp 2, and I guess we'll do it that way. So let me throw on headphones. Check, check. My microphone is working. Do we have bass yet? Let's see. Excellent. Okay, so while the performance is going, I'll switch over to this screen so you can actually watch me playing it. And we'll also pull in a backing track. So you'll get to hear it bass dry on its own, and then with the track, and then we'll A-B them between the two different rigs. So that's the experiment. That's how we're doing all this. Starting with amp number 1, the AG500 DI only, no track. I'm going to set this to loop. Okay, so we'll leave the pad engaged. Let me just keep an eye on the gain. Yeah, it doesn't look like we're clipping. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is leave the EQs flat, which pretty much it is right now. So let's jump over to the Tonehammer, do the same, hear the same exact passage. Let's just see what they sound like totally flat, right? Yeah, you're not doing anything. You're not going anywhere. Okay, overdrive's off. Let's see. This is the AG500 amp number 1. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. They sound pretty comparable to me. Here's what I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna switch over to this screen. I'm just gonna let it loop. We're gonna work on the AG500, and let me just dial in a tone that I think works for this song. I'll pull in the track, and then we'll see if we can't recreate it with the amp number 2, or if you know, maybe I want to go a different route, use the overdrive or something like that. So here is the AG500 amp number 1. I like that already. The high mid knob is giving me more of the pick strike, but it's also too honky sounding. I really like the slice I'm getting here. Too much though. Honestly, I think it's pretty sick. I'm going to switch over to the Tonehammer. Let's just A-B them real quick to see what flat sounds like. Because when they were both flat, it was almost the same. I couldn't tell that much of a difference. By the way, I know the gains are going to be a little bit different. I'm looking at my meters and trying to keep them about the same. But if one sounds louder to you than the other, I'm doing my best to regulate that, I promise. Here we go. Switching to the Tonehammer in 3, 2, 1. What a difference. All right, let's play with this one. Ooh, that smacks. Okay, so for sure, the AG700 can go, AG500, amp 1. I told you, I'm going to suck at this. So amp number 1 is definitely scoopier and boomier because of that deep switch. I'm able to make it bassier with the bass knob, but I can't get those right? Listen to this. Here's the amp 1. I'll go back. Okay, all right, so check this out. So the, I gotta find a better place for this. The AG500, amp number 1, if you look, I've got the deep switch engaged, and I'm scooping a lot of that low mid. I can't get enough of the mids here, and it was nice that I could sweep for it and find it, but the AG500, amp 1, definitely has more of a I feel like I'm able to get the smack that I need. Actually, more attack here. What am I doing? Yeah, if you look, we're doing almost the same EQ move on the top end. So I definitely feel like the Tonehammer's got more smack to it, or more reactivity. But the 500, the AG, definitely has more, or at least naturally. I can get it with maybe less bass and just pushing one switch. That's what I like about this deep switch. I had it on the Aguilar DB751. On a GK, I think it's Enhance. And on Ampeg, they call it ultra low. I leave that shit on always. If my amp has that, I'm putting it on and I'm forgetting about it. It just makes it easier to dial in the low end for me. Yeah, even with the overdrive switch, I prefer the sound of the AG500, but before we make any decisions, let's pull in the backing track, because that is the biggest deciding factor. Is always like, it might sound great on its own, might sound great in the room, but as soon as the band plays, you go, oh, no, that one's better. Maybe like I'm hearing like in the Tonehammer, oh, it's got this honky kind of that is just bugging me. But once you pull in the band, you're like, oh, the snare drum ring disappeared, and now the mix sounds better. So you never know. Things that could be problematic or a problem might actually solve something that you're just not aware of because it's not on your instrument. It's something in the room or a cymbal or some other thing that gets better. So let's see if I'm full of shit or not. Let's pull in the track. Here we go. Amp 1. Yeah, that's the one for me. So in this particular case, when it comes to clean rock, I mean, I guess that's what I would call it, because, you know, we didn't need the overdrive circuit. So I'd say, yeah, for clean rock, I prefer the AG500. I'd say that was the closest, wrong button. That was the closest that it got to like Ampeg, just saturated, chug, 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 get out of the way and just sound huge. And we didn't do much. Gain is pretty much set to where it's not clipping, or maybe it is a little bit. Honestly, you know what? I didn't think that, okay, hold on. Let me back up 1 second. I've already filmed 2 videos with both of these rigs individually. I spent 1 hour with this one and 1 hour with this one. Those videos I've already uploaded. They're done, but they're not coming out till later this week because we wanted to do this one first. And while I was doing that video, I was like, okay, this is going to be the dirty one. This is going to be the clean one. I was surprised at how dirty you could get with the AG500. Even though it doesn't have an overdrive circuit, you can just crank it, get it to distort, and then back off your input gain or your preamp. Actually, it's a pretty decent sounding overdriven tube amp sound, you know, even though I know it's solid state. So anyways, yeah, if I had to pick a winner, it's this one right here. I've got an idea for this next one. For the next one, we're going to do a blind test. Okay, so when I'm switching back and forth, I'm going to leave it on. I'm going to leave it on a screen that doesn't have the amp, so you can't see what I'm doing. And I want you to leave a comment and tell me which one you like more, and I'll tell you what it was. That's pretty cool. Okay. All right. Yeah, we'll do a blind test on the next one. Speaking of the next one, let's jump over it. Over it? No, let's jump over to it. This one's going to be some slap bass. Let me turn off the track. The instrument for this one is, what is this guy? This is a short scale Sterling by Music Man, not an expensive one. This is probably from their, I don't know, $400, $500, $600 line. So it's a passive Music Man that's just really small. I thought it was a pretty cool one. Let me flatten these out. So we're starting from the same spot again. Hold on. All right, so now let's dial in a decent slap tone. Probably what I'm going to do is boost the low end, boost the top end, scoop out somewhere in the mids. This might have the advantage because it's got that sweepable mid. So I can find exactly where I want to scoop and then cut it out. Whereas with this one, I've only got two options, high mid and low mid. And if they're placed in the right spot, it'll be easier to find. I won't have to go fishing for it. You'll see what I mean. Yeah, let's go ahead and hear this bass only, and we'll start with the bottom, amp 1. Here's the bass by itself. I'm just going to gain it. All right, that looks pretty good. Hold on, wait for it. By the way, if you guys can't tell, I know because these lights are getting, blown out and there's cables in the way. But if there's two lights on, that means that's the one that's engaged. So kind of works that way. All right, let me play this again. Here's the bottom amp, AG500. I don't know what you're hearing, but it definitely sounds like this one's more blunt or more low mid honky, whereas this one's kind of like the last one, more full and scoopy. Yeah, even though this one here is, I guess, thinner sounding than this one, this has a mid-range honk to it that this one doesn't have. And if you look at the gains, they're kind of almost the same. The EQ curve is almost the same. So on the other example, I thought they both sounded identical. I can definitely hear the character of this one as opposed to the character of this one. And I'm calling it honky and mid-range. That's not a bad thing or a good thing. That's just the truth. This is more versatile, transparent, clean. That's not a good thing either. That could be very bad depending on what you're trying to do. So keep that in mind whenever we're doing these kinds of videos. Again, it's the reason why I always pull in the backing track to hear for reference, because you never know. There's something that you hear that you're like, ooh, I don't like that. But there could be a reason why that's the better amp, or at least the correct one for the scenario. All right, let me play these and dial it in. We'll start with amp 1. That gets me pretty close right there. Ah, yo, check that out. I really like the sound of this. Let's compare to this one. Yeah, you hear that difference? Okay, so now I'll do the same thing. Let's try to dial in this amp and see if we can't get it to either match or get kind of close to it. Okay. That bass knob is a lot more powerful than I thought it was. It's not lacking low end. It is smoother on this one, though. Huh. Huh. I thought that this one here had the bigger low end, but you can get it up here too. Wow. Okay, I would take either one, honestly. But again, I got to go with the AG500. That's a I'm not going to say better sounding slap tone, but it was easier to dial in. All I had to do was hit these two buttons and then just scoop, boost, and just kind of stop when I liked it. This one was like I had to set the top end and the bottom end. Same with the 500, the AG, but then I had to go sweeping for the mid. There's not enough boom, so I had to go back and forth. I was able to get there quicker with the AG500, but the Tonehammer did not disappoint. It's not a slouch. And I was able to still get excellent results with it. But I definitely feel like I got there quicker with this. But like I said, let's pull in the track. Pull in the track. How am I going to do this as a blind test? Okay, here's what I want you to do. I'm going to tell you to pause the video and go leave a comment. Okay, while this next example is playing, we're just going to watch this screen right here. Okay, you're not going to get to see which one I'm switching. And I'm going to stop when I decide that's the better one. Okay, all I want you to do is pause the video at that point, go leave a comment, and tell me which one you think that is. Either the 500, the AG500, or the Tonehammer 500. Tell me which one you think is the better sounding one. Or, yeah, how are you going to know which one it is? No, just tell me whichever one you think I left it on. That's the test. That's how we're going to do it, all right? So, one more time. Here's the rules. I'm going to play it. You're not going to see which amp it is, but when I pause, tell me in the comments which one you think it is. Is it the Tonehammer or is it the AG? It's not going to be the one I think is best because I already gave you the answer. But whichever one you think the answer is, leave it in the comments, and then I'll disclose the answer to you. Okay? Here we go. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but I switched them like 2 or 3 times already. So I will announce, I'll say in my voice, okay, like, okay, now I'm switching. Okay, now I'm switching. Okay, now I'm switching. And you don't know which one I'm starting or which one I'm ending with, but whichever one we land on, tell me what you think it is in the comments, okay? Here we go. Nice little experiment. All right, I'm going to switch right now. I'm going to switch right now. I'm going to switch. I'm going to switch. She's got the hustle that makes the money move. Okay, which one do you think it is? Which one did we end on? Pause this video. Tell me in a comment. Are you done? Did you unpause it again? The answer was the AG500. Honestly, I didn't know. I wasn't even looking. The way I'm doing this is I'm just pushing both the buttons at the same time. So you can see for me, I don't know. Even I don't know which one it is. But it goes back and forth between one of them being on and one of them being off. So that time, it happened to be the AG500. Were you correct? Did you get them right? I don't know. I don't know because that's not how this technology works. Let's do another one. This time, let me come over to my screen. All right, this one we're going to play another inexpensive instrument. This one's going to be a Harley Benton, basically a 5-string J of some sort. Sorry, let me get the track queued up. Pull out the music. Okay, what is this one? Okay, so this song's gonna be like an R&B, really, really deep pocket, like rhythm and blues, gospel, something along those lines. So same thing. I'm gonna level this out. Oh, and you know what? I'm gonna switch around. Let's go. Let's use the cab sims for this one. So instead of using the front-loaded DIs, we're gonna use the back side. Hold on. And okay, so for this one, the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to check out the cabinets first, and then I'll start dialing in with the EQ. I'm pretty sure they come loaded with the same ones, because like I said, I did the individual videos yesterday, and they almost sounded the same. If they're not, they're really close. But we'll just make that assumption because they are factory default. I highly doubt they loaded different ones on both of these. But hey, anything's possible. So now you can see the XLR in the front is not being used. We're using the ones in the back. So again, we'll start with amp number 1. Is everything flat? Yep. This bass has a really quiet output, and it only costs like $200 too. Okay, so this one's gonna need the deep knob for sure. Gosh, that sounds so bad. Not this amp, this bass. Look at this thing. It's probably like $150, $200 at the most. It looks really nice, but it just has dog shit sound. Okay, let's see if we can fix it. You ready? I'll go back to this screen. Okay, again, it's really quiet on the output. I don't want to push it too hard because I don't want to drive it. It's looping right now, so let's compare. Okay, let's scoop this one out. Going back to the Tonehammer now. I almost feel like the bass knob on this one is more reactive than this one. And I know you can't see what I'm doing. I know the bass knob, I feel like the bass knob here is more reactive here. I know I always hit the deep switch first because, like I said, it's my go-to. That's how I like to do it. Yeah, I can definitely get those frequencies from the bass knob. That's not normally the case. Or not always. Sorry. Let's keep going here. You know what? I think I like this one more. I don't know. Let's go back and forth. Here's the AG. Back to the AG. Okay, now here's the thing. I know it seems like I'm being really finicky here and I'm just going back and forth between the same things, but that's kind of the point. This is not a good instrument. So this instrument needs a lot of work, and I'm just trying to see, can I get the job done with just these basic tools here? I don't know which one I like more. Let's pull in the track. I'm not ready to make up my mind yet. Let me do that. Oh, and also, I'm going to turn off the looping, so this will play all the way through. Okay, here we go. AG500. Yep. Okay, that was the end of it. You know what? Okay, I'm going to tell you. I think that... Oh, hold on. Nah, okay, I made one mistake. So that whole entire time, I was like, oh, we're going in the back. We're hearing the cab sims. However, the cab sim was not turned off. So this wasn't all for loss. We've gotten our ears dialed into this is what it sounds like with just the DI signal. I'm going to turn on the cab sim. The same one for both of them. The one that I liked the most was the first preset. Again, you can't see it, but they're on the back. There's basically you hit the same button 3 times to go from on, or sorry, to off, to 1, to 2, to 3, back to off. Again, it's probably very similar to how Dark Glass does it. Let's hear that again. Same passage, same thing, going back and forth, but let's see what the cab sim does. Here's the 500. They're really, really close. Let me pull in the track. Tonehammer. Honestly, I could take either one, but I think the Tonehammer did a better job. Maybe not for the genre, because I do feel like, again, the 4-band EQ, it was easier to dial in a big scooped out tone. But I don't know if you noticed this. When we first started, I had the high-mid pulled all the way down on this one because it was adding a really kind of like honky, a 500 hertz you don't want. 400, 500, maybe that's kind of what it was. I don't know. I wasn't digging it because, again, this instrument sucks, right? It's not a good one. So, but when I switched over to the cab sim, I was able to dial this in and get more of the finger strike because the impulse response of the cab simulator was kind of taking care of that job for me. So I got to do the opposite, kind of bring it back in. So you get more functionality. Is that the word? Versatility with this one, like I've been saying all along. But honestly, I think that the Tonehammer did a better job of making a shitty instrument more usable. Honestly, because I was able to, instead of having to put a cab sim on it in order to fix that problem, I thought they both sounded the same-ish with the cab. This one sounded better. The Tonehammer, amp number 2, sounded better with when the cab sim wasn't engaged. Because here, I only had 2 knobs, right? Is this it? No. Is this it? No. Well, shit, I'm just kind of stuck with whatever I got. With this one, it was like, okay, where is, or sorry, I was fishing for it here. Where is it? And I found it. This was the worst sounding spot of that bass, and I was able to get rid of it. So, the first 2 examples, I would say the AG500 won out for slap and for clean rock. But when it comes to making an inexpensive instrument more usable, I think the Tonehammer. I got there quicker, easier, and I didn't need to use the cab sim. which again, I mean, who cares? You know, you do it however you want. But I think that's what I ended up with. I know that's what I ended up with. Okay, let's do another one. We've done, I'm excited for this. Okay, so we've done slap, we've done R&B, and the first one we did was rock. Let's go ahead and do some drop A progressive death metal. Let me pull in the, turn down the track. Let's get the bass going. This is an active 5-string Spector. I believe the NS Dimension 5 or something like that. Let me set this to loop really quick. Okay. All right, so just like I've been doing, hold on, where am I? Here I am, hi. I'm gonna dial this in on the AG500. We've got the cab engaged. Let me do this. Let me see which cab I like the most first. I'll go back and I'll switch between all three. We'll start with the cabinet, and then I'll make sure that the Tonehammer reflects and uses the same cabinet, and we'll just start there. Totally flat, right? Yeah. Everyone's flat? Okay. Here's the bass by itself. Here, I'll leave this on for now. Okay, so this right here is cabinet number 1. I'm going to jump over to cabinet number 2. Here's cabinet number 3. No cabinet. Number 1. Number 2. Number 3. Off. 1. You know what? I'm going to keep it on cabinet number 1 because it's got the most boom. So let's play around with the mid-range and see if we can't get that to pop a little bit. Again, it's drop E and we don't need drop A, and we don't need a lot. So back to the AG500. Let's scoop around a little bit. I don't feel like I need the deep switch. Yeah, it's just getting too muddy. I'm going to leave the bright switch in just because it's there and it's appropriate for this genre. Let's go over to the Tonehammer. Again, remember, it's flat, and these are pretty close when you set them flat. We sort of established that at the beginning, right, of this whole video. So let me switch it back over. Here we go. Tonehammer. Same impulse response also. Back to the Tonehammer. All right, so like I said, pretty definitely honkier and muddier in this case. So let's see if I can't scoop some of that out. And also, okay, so this has got the bright switch that we're utilizing. This one doesn't have. So let's utilize some overdrive, right? Let's cheat a little bit here. Let's see if we can get not the same result, but interestingly different results that'll still work on the song. Let's see what we can do. back to the Tonehammer. Whoa. You hear the difference? Check that out again. Same thing. Oh, let me start it over from the top. So, Tonehammer. Less body and less slice, but that overdrive helps out a ton. Back to the AG500. Cleaner and slicier. More impact. Darker, woolier, all the things that I've been saying this whole time. Okay, so let's do another blind test. Okay, when we do this next one, I'm going to leave it on this screen the whole entire time, and you're not going to know which one. I'm not going to say, yeah. I'm not going to say it. You tell me which one you like more. I'm just going to boost the track louder. I just realized something that I'll tell you at the end. Okay, so this next example, you're doing blind. Just tell me which one you think it is, whichever one we land on. All right, here we go. I'll let you know when I switch them. Okay, I'm going to switch them right now. I'm going to switch them back. I'm going to switch them again. I'm going to switch them again. Okay, tell me, which one do you think that was? I left it for the last 15 seconds. If you want to pause and rewind, you can totally do that. Tell me which one you think it was, but pause it right now. Go leave a comment. Which one do you think the metal example was? I'll just show you. It was the Tonehammer! Now, here's the thing. I realized halfway through, I was like, we just have to listen to the one that has distortion on it. And one of them doesn't. But I also boosted the track. And honestly, when I was switching between the two, I could hardly hear the overdrive because it is subtle. It's not like dark glass triple banger overdrive. You know what I mean? I will say this. I don't know if you can hear. The fan is definitely loud on both of these. And they're both pumping right now. I can hear them. So if the microphone's not picking it up, or I do have some plugins that are filtering out air conditioning and room noise, so maybe you can't hear them. But the fans are definitely pumping on both of these. Okay, let's do another one. What else do I got here? I told you I would play 6. We got 2 more. Let me set the loop marker really quickly. Hold on. I hope you guys are enjoying this. I'm having a lot of fun. I love playing music. I love doing shootouts, especially on gear that like you don't know what the difference is. Like a Neve preamp and an API preamp. What's the difference? One way to find out: plug them in, play, tweak, and then make your own, decisions. So let me zero out both of these again. I think for metal, the Tonehammer won. I know we didn't announce a winner, but yeah, we can definitely, I think. But the AG was no slouch either. Definitely not. I was really surprised at how good that bass sounded like a Spector. Which one was it? The Dimension 5. That sounded like a this made it sound just amplified Spector bass. This one was obviously throwing a dark, woolly, low mid distortion on it. You could totally hear that. And I loved it. I thought it was fantastic, but so far, it's pretty much been cleaner and more character, which is funny. I always thought it was the other way around. I thought the Tonehammer was the easier, cleaner one, and the AG had more of a colored circuit to it. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe my ears are telling me wrong things. Who knows? Okay, here's a live recording. I'll jump over to this screen. This is a live recording from a show at Summerfest from 2019. So you won't see me playing the whole entire time. But this is a song called Fearless by my friend Shim Moore. It's very pop rock, you know? So it's that kind of thing, right? Just straight meat and potatoes bass. So I'm playing a 4-string J bass pretty much. And it's in drop D tuning, passive, no bells or whistles or anything fancy about it. So let's dial it in, starting with the AG. No, hey, you know what? We've started with the AG every single time. Let's go ahead and start with the Tonehammer, right? Cab sims are still on. Is a very soft output. I do know that this bass has Aguilar pickups on it. Which ones I don't remember, but these are Aguilars and they're very low output. Yeah, it's just gonna loop for a little bit. Let's try to get the finger strike a little bit in there. The top end is really mellow. And honestly, that's what I love about Aguilar. If you just leave pretty much everything up flat, up at the top, you might be like, oh, it sounds like the tone knob's rolled down or the treble is dipped a little. Actually, no, it isn't. It's just when you leave it flat, it's very natural sounding. There's no sss, even though right now I hear a that's coming from my computer. Trust me, that's not the amps. That's a different problem. Okay, let me keep going. You can see it's just not a lot of top end because I didn't play with a lot of attack. So that's almost not doing anything great. This is where, okay, now we're at the AG500, so this is flat. One more time. So there's the AG500, totally flat. Tonehammer with a bit of processing. Again, very, very similar. Let's go ahead and play around with the Aguilar, the AG500, see if we can't get more of that finger strike and scoop out the low mid a little bit. Back to the Tonehammer. Yep, there's that low mid, that low honk I was talking about. Back to the 500. I could take either of them. Let me try the opposite approach with this one. Instead of boosting the finger strike, let's cut some mud. They're so close. Yeah, so across the board, what I'm really hearing, the Tonehammer always has a low mid honk that the AG either doesn't have or you can EQ it out because of the 2 mid bands. And because this only has 1 mid band, I had to choose, do I want the finger strike? That frequency right there, do I want that to poke, or do I want to cut out some of some of that honk that either is in the bass naturally or that this is adding to it? And so I've got to go one way or the other. Whereas this one, the AG500, I don't have to choose because I can boost the finger strike and cut the mud. Or if I don't want to do anything, I can just hit the deep switch. And that kind of almost does a similar effect. So you've got 2 different ways to do the same thing on this one, and you have no ways of doing that on this one. You can only do one or the other. So in terms of versatility, you would think that the AG500 is more versatile for tone shaping, and I guess you're right. But the sweepable mid makes this one more versatile for live playing. I'll explain why in a minute. Let's pull in the track and see what it does. Starting with the AG. Tonehammer. Back. Okay, I don't know if you saw my face. There's something happening. Okay, so check this out. So I've been pigeonholing this low-mid honk, like, oh, there it is. As soon as I pulled in the mix, this one sounded better because the track is so thin. It's a live recording, right? So that helped the bass get more support and definition, whereas this one was cleaner, this one was fatter, and the recording sounded worse. I'll do that again. I won't do it again, but rewind like 15 seconds and watch that moment again. This one cut through. This one didn't. And they were both, and let's start with this too. These are like 90% the same, right? We really are splitting hairs, the difference between these two amps. But yeah, I thought the Tonehammer was going to be worse. I think it's the better one for this case. Let's see that again. Yeah, honestly, yeah. I mean, I know I could just scoop this one a little bit, probably a little bit less to get that back. But yeah, that Tonehammer, again, that sound that I'm talking about, that's like, oh, you can't get rid of it. It helps sometimes. The thing that you're trying to fix might not be a problem. It might be your savior. There's a song in there. Someone write that. The problem you're trying to fix might be your savior. That sounds like a country song. Or what do they call it? A whiskey country, dark country, you know, whiskey soaked country, whatever that stuff is. I got one last song for you. This is going to be like a, how are we doing on time? Almost at an hour. Excellent. This one's like 1960s rhythm and blues. You'll see what I mean. Very, very straightforward. You know what? Let's mic up the cab on this one. Okay. No, hold on. I just realized if I mic up the cab, I'm not going to be able to A-B as quickly. Right? The cool thing here is because we're going DI, I can switch back and forth between them. If I mic up the cab, I can't plug both of these heads into the same speaker. That might blow them up. So, I don't have two speakers and two mics to, yeah, that'll mess up the test. Okay, so we're not going to mic up the cabinet because, like I said, it'll be slow. I won't be able to switch back and forth between them. Next time, I'll try to figure out a way to do that. But I do want to try out a different cab sim. That was the first one. Let's try the second or the third. Let me play the audio once we get this all balanced out, which it is. Okay, here's the AG500. No track. The bass I'm using on this one is another very low output. This is a Spector Performer 4. This bass is probably only like $400 or $500. Okay, let me switch around to the next cab sim. Okay, it's a little thinner sounding, but because, yeah. So check it out. So this is Motown-ish. You don't need low end. Like they weren't bumping 30 hertz in 1960. They didn't have speakers that could really replicate and rumble rooms back then. So the low end that we're going for on this kind of track is really more in the 300. Like 100 might be too low. 100 might have too much to it. So where the bass is going to sit in a rhythm and blues, Motown, Stax, like that kind of recording is probably really closer to 300. 200, 300 is probably where you're going to find the bass, the low end. So everything's flat, and just by using this one impulse response with both of these amps have the same one selected. Yes, they do. Okay, so let's just see where this bass is sitting. Totally flat. I've got them pretty much gained, I think, about the same. Let's hear this, and I'll go back and forth between the two. Here we go. Starting with the Tonehammer. very low output on this bass. You can see we're cranking the gain on both of them. Oh, interesting. Okay, so again, these are both being fed identical signals. That jittering sound, I'm going to fix it. I promise. I have to get an electrician out here. It's not fun. I'm maxed out on headroom for the AG500, and I still don't feel like it's as loud as this one. This one could have come back, could have gone up a little bit more. And I'm sending identical signals to both of these. If I could show you, there's a reamp from Radial. It's the same signal. They're not volume deficized. There's no volume deficit between the two signals. So yeah, this one has a little bit less gain, I guess, than the Tonehammer. That's maxed out. That sounds louder. And I can make it even louder. Of course, once you start boosting EQ and stuff, it doesn't really matter. We can get the gain another way. Yeah, you hear that? That low mid knob right there. That's what's going to cause the bass to pop in this mix. Not this one. That's too much woof. We want a little bit. That's too much. Top end's not doing anything. Don't need it. And that's what I think I want to get rid of. Let's do that again. Play that back, please. Okay, let's go back to the Tonehammer. So they're pretty close. In this case, here's how I will describe these two, is the Tonehammer's more aggressive, the AG is more clean, soft, subtle. I guess that means it has more headroom or less headroom. I don't know. Scientist, you get back to me on that one. But I think I like the Tonehammer more. Let's pull in the track and see, but I'm just having an easier time getting it with the sweepable mid. With these ones, it was like, there's the bump, but this one doesn't really seem to be doing what I want it to do. Whereas with the sweeping and then boosting the low mid, look, I left the bass exactly in the center. This sounds boomier to me, and I'm not even boosting the bass. This one's boosting. This one's not boosting any low end, right? Listen. Bass come back. Let's just add a little bit of low end on this one. Oops. Yeah, see, this is giving me more of a Jocko-y, burpy low mid. And I don't quite want that. That's what I want. Yeah, that sounds saturated. That sounds like an Ampeg B15. It's probably what I want on this track. Let's pull in the, leave it on the Tonehammer. I'm going to bring in the backing track. Sorry if this moment took too long, but I was stuck in Come on! Here's the AG. Tighter, focused, cleaner, and in my opinion, lifeless. Tonehammer. But I was stuck in my childish own way. When you're on my left, everything's alright, and I don't ever want nothing to change. Baby girl, not gonna lie, that one didn't go how I thought it was either. The Tonehammer one, in my opinion, had more mojo. That thing that I keep bringing up, that low, mid, honk, whatever it is, it's not on this one. And sometimes you want it and sometimes you don't. So I'm pretty sure that was 3 for 3. I think I prefer this one, 3 of them, and this. And by the way, I did the individual videos yesterday, 1 hour on each one. I chose entirely different songs. So by the way, if you do want to watch the deep dives where I really go through and check all the knobs and all the things and pull it apart to learn what these things sound like, there's links in the description. Are they out yet? This video comes out first, so the next two might be a day or so behind. So subscribe to the channel if it's Monday the 20th and they're not out yet, and you'll get notified. And if you're watching this in the future, click on the description, or shit, maybe something's popping up right now. You can click there. But I definitely didn't plan for this to happen. This one over here, I will say, wins out in versatility for... Let me turn them off so the fans aren't going. Okay, so I definitely think that the Tonehammer wins for cover bands. Hold on. I was hearing some jittering on through my headphones. So I think for cover bands, wedding gigs, the type of thing where there's no front of house, you're responsible for your sound. You're not plugging into the PA. You have to bring an amp, and that's the sound for the whole entire room. Honestly, I think the Tonehammer is the more versatile one because of that sweepable mid. If you watch the deep dive video on this, I'll spend about 15 minutes talking about that. It does sacrifice the 2-band. So like if I was playing finger funk, if there were specific things, I would prefer the AG500. But if it's just like a throw and go and I just need something that works and something that's versatile, Tonehammer. However, there's no disputing the fuller, boomier, and more versatile in terms of tone shaping. The AG500 wins in that regard. So slap, finger funk, rhythm and blues, R&B, even pop rock. Like I think I preferred the AG, but this was no slouch on any of those. And especially when you set them flat, you almost can't tell the difference. But you'll notice how like on some of the songs you would set it flat and be like, oh, this one's way honkier and that one's not. Well, right, yeah, the instrument and the way you're playing it and the style of music and then blending in the track. And don't assume that any of those things are good versus bad, right versus wrong. It's much more along the lines of, is that what this song requires? Is that what you are looking for the music you're making at the moment? So now the question is this: which one would I keep? Because I had this one for about 10 years, not the newest version with the impulse responses and all that, but I did have a Tonehammer 500, back in 2012 or 13, whatever year they came out. Never owned one of these. So would I keep? Would I buy another Tonehammer, or would I opt for the AG? Obviously, it's so dependent on what you do. Okay, here's my answer. I have it. So if it's Jamie today, he chooses the AG500. And here's the reason why: I don't gig that much anymore. I'm playing a show. I played a show last Sunday here in Las Vegas. I'm playing a show tonight on drums, actually. I'm playing a drum kit tonight at the Venetian. Hey, if you're in the town, come hang out. But those are the only 2 shows I've played since last June. I basically retired from live gigging. I only do studio, TV, film. Since the lockdown, since 2020, we moved here to Vegas, and that's all I've done. So I don't gig out very much, and that's the reason why I don't need a Tonehammer. I don't do club gigs, wedding gigs, bar gigs, cover band gigs. That's not my life anymore. So 2010, 2012, college, 2005, Jamie, that guy buys a Tonehammer because that's the work I did. That's what I would want. The stuff I do today is very particular. I go DI for most of it, and I do a lot of it with plugins. But if I wanted an amp that was just like ready to go and easy to dial in, be this one. Especially given all I have to do really is hit that deep switch. If I just do that and then maybe that, like you probably saw me, I did that at the start of every song. So yeah, that was, I probably choose this today, and 10 years ago, I choose that, and 100% is based on career, not based on which one I like more or which one's better. And then this is the other thing too, guys, we're splitting hairs here, right? Go back to the beginning an hour ago and just watch the part where everything was level, flat up, and I went and A-B'd them, and I was like, I can't even tell the difference, right? They're starting off so close to each other. And also, let's not forget this right here, all right? Hold on. If I unplug everything, right? Both of these. If I wasn't looking at it, and I couldn't tell you, if I was just looking at the backside, I couldn't tell you which one I'm holding. This one feels like an ounce heavier. You know what I mean? They're both so light. They're both so easy to use. I'm sorry if you were watching this hoping I was going to tell you which one to get. And I'm sorry if you were hoping that by the end, you'd be like, clearly spotlight's shining on this one. That's the one I want. But that was just not the case. So Aguilar, Tonehammer 500 and AG500. These just came out today with a couple of bells and whistles that, you know, we went through in this hour and 7 minutes so far. Thank you so very much for watching. I appreciate you. There's links in the description to not just these amps, but everything we use today. All the different basses, microphones, everything that came through. We didn't even use the mics today. Oh, and then, like I said, if you really want to dive in to each of these amps individually, there's a 45-minute video on the Tonehammer, and I think a 35-minute video on the AG500. Very similar to what I did here. We unboxed it, opened it up. It's loose, it's unedited, and I just explore it, stumble through it, and, you know, do the best I can. Just like this. Thanks for watching, y'all. Appreciate you. We'll see you next time.